Project of the day. I'm going to be working on a compost pile or compost bin system. There are as many ways of doing this as there are people and ideas. I like using concrete blocks because they last a long time. They're not permanent. I can use them for many different things, and usually I've got quite a few that I've accumulated just over time, and they don't even have to match. But in any case, I'm over at my parents' house still, so I'm going to build one. So I went ahead and got blocks. These I got at Lowe's. They're actually cheaper than Home Depot. They are the 8 by 8 by 12. So you've got 8, 8, 12. They're about 32 pounds each. This is just your typical quarter ton or half ton pickup truck. So that calculates out to about 45 or so. 40 to 45 would be that 1,000 pounds, that half ton. So I didn't want to overload the truck too much, but at least that is enough that you can get them to do it by the pallet and just load the pallet in the truck. Just a FYI, at least at Lowe's here, they charge you $12 if they put a pallet in the truck. You get that back if you take it back, or you can keep it. So I've got the blocks there, and then here's how I'm going to use it. This is the area that's probably going to become the garden, since it's inside the fence and easy to get to. I've already got a janky rainwater system, so it comes off of the gutter up there through just some contraptions. Whole different issue on that. Goes down to this IBC tote. One thing you will notice on the IBC tote, I've got it tilted back. And the reason for that is you're going to end up with a sludge layer, and that's good. Don't let people freak you out about having a sludge layer in the bottom of your rainwater barrel or your storage tank. That's actually a very important piece of the puzzle for making decent water. But I don't want to be pulling the water directly out from the sludge layer. I don't want to be pulling the sludge out. And in a lot of IBC totes, the outlet is right at the very bottom, because obviously if you've got some kind of product in there, you want to get all of it out. So in order to keep the outlet above the bottom and allow there to be a sludge layer and you're drawing water from above it, for right now I just tilted it back, and I may need to tilt it even better, a little more. Again, that's a whole nother conversation, water storage. But all I do is I just stack the cinder blocks in kind of a U shape. And if you want 2 bins, then you have 2 U's or 3 U's or whatever. You can drive like a T-post or something. If I was going to be having it right here, putting in the compost on this side, it's going to be pushing out. You can drive a T-post like every other block or so inside here, and that'll keep wall, where however many blocks you've got up, keep it from going over. Remember, when you're stacking these, especially if you're not using, because I'm not going to be mortaring these, make sure to overlap so they kind of tie in, but you'll see that as I do it. One of the things I need to do right now, though, is you notice it's a little bit higher here, so it's going to not level. Okay, not horrible. I could deal with that, but I am going to go ahead and level that out a little bit, and then I'm just going to start stacking these. Again, the great thing about doing it this way, these blocks are going to last a long time. You can reconfigure it at will. There's no nails, there's no mortar. You can use them for other things. Now I'm putting it here for 2 reasons. It's about as close to the front door as possible, so that we can bring the garden scraps and stuff like that out here and keep incorporating that. It's also close to my rainwater system, so if I need to water it with the rainwater, it's close, and it's within the garden area. Ideally, it would be right in the middle of the garden, but that's the great thing about this. If at some point I decided I need to move it, all I got to do is unstack the blocks, restack them somewhere else. It's done. landscape fabric. What is everybody's obsession with landscape fabric? Especially when it's the cheap stuff. The good thing is, underneath this landscape fabric, which is falling apart, it's still impeding some growth. Wow, there is lots of worms. So that's essentially how you're going to do it, or how I'm going to be doing it. I might level this one out just a little bit, because that base, the more level it is, the easier it'll be to stack, but it does not have to be perfect, okay? This is not a house, it's not a living structure. I'm not even mortaring it. I probably won't even put any stakes in there. It's just dry stacked for 4 or 5 courses, and then kind of sloping down to the front, just to make a container to hold a decent volume of material to compost down. So again, I've got 5 across, but then you're going to lose half on this side, half on that side, so you end up with 4 blocks wide on the internal diameter, and these are 16, so 4 times 16, 40, whatever, do the math real quick, and then just overlap your blocks on every course so they kind of lock into each other. There is the possibility that you'll start getting something growing up through, because light can get in there. You've got a couple of different options. You can put something over the top to block that, whether that's a concrete block, whether it's a piece of wood, whatever you want. We've got a bunch of pavers over here that aren't being used for anything, so I may take these on the top and simply do that to occlude the light. Some people also will go ahead and fill those holes with compost and plant something they want in there, like some kind of flowers or herbs or something. That's an option. So I'm just going to get back at it. I'm going to level out that one a little bit, and then I should be able to stack the rest of this pretty quick. And if I've got enough blocks at some point, then I can continue it around and do a second bay. And with the second bay, instead of having, when I want to turn it, instead of having to pull it all out and put it back, I can just take it from here, flip it to that one, empty it out, and just go back and forth, and that helps kind of keep it mixed as I go. I don't tend to, at the volume that I've been doing it at the house, I don't tend to have a time where I've got one of these full and I take all of that out and use it and have another whole one going. I tend to use a little bit as I go, so it's just an ever continuing process, but it just depends on you. Okay, and that's it. I mean, that right there is a decent sized compost bin. You really want, I'd like to go up another course, but I'm out of blocks. That's 46 blocks. But you want about 4 foot wide, 4 foot deep, 4 foot tall to have enough mass for it to really heat up and do well. There's many ways of composting: quick compost, slow compost, all that kind of stuff. But if you're wanting it to get up to temperature to kill the pathogens and kill the seeds, you need it to get to temperature, and for it to do that, there's got to be enough mass and enough insulation for the core of the pile to actually get up and stay at temperature for the appropriate amount of time. You can look that up online, especially if you're wanting to go organic. There's some specific temperatures and time frames that every part of the pile needs to get to. So that's why I like these little tumblers and all that kind of stuff. Yes, stuff will break down, but it's not really compost. In fact, if I remember right, the American Composting Association or Council redid their definition to clarify, because so many different things were being called compost, that they actually clarified the definition, and it includes a thermophilic, a hot phase. So anything that doesn't go through a good hot phase, by their definition, is not compost. So the stuff that comes out of worm bins, that would be worm castings, not compost, because it never got hot. If it got hot, the worms wouldn't be there. But in any case, so that's one size, decent sized bin. I'm going to go ahead and cap it off. I mean, if you've got half blocks, you could put half blocks in these and then put another full block, just depending on how much you want to dress it up. Many ways you can do this. You can reinforce it, you can pretty it up, you can paint it, you can put lids over it. If you're in a high rainfall environment, you might want to find some way to put a cover over it to so that it's just not wet and go anaerobic all the time, and or to keep dogs and other pests and critters out of it. But for me, this is just the simple bin that's resilient, that's not going to rot away real quick, that I can move fairly quickly anytime. So let me cap it all off and see what it looks like when I get done with that. Okay, so there you go. Ready to start putting material in there. I'm not putting cardboard down on the bottom. I'm not worried about anything growing down in there, because, I mean, think about it. When that's full of compost, nothing short of crepe myrtles or elderberry or something is going to be able to force its way up through all of that, and it's going to be getting turned fairly often anyway. But we've got quite a few leaves and or pine needles, which take forever to break down, but anyway, got some carbon, and whenever I go back to my house, I'll be bringing back maybe 5-gallon buckets of stuff from the chicken coop. The litter and everything will be very high nitrogen, and now that I've got a place I can start putting it, I may start contacting some of the coffee shops or Waffle House or something like that, and trying to get coffee grounds, scraps, some other kind of organic material. And I may even at some point bring my push mower over here, because it's got a bagger on it, and whenever I'm mowing, sometimes, most of the time I mulch and just put it right back into the soil, but sometimes I'll go ahead and bag it up and add that to the compost to heat it up and give me some nitrogen. But there's a compost pile. Now that I've got that built, I only need about half that many, so about 20 or 30, and I could build a second bay right there. So I could have 2 or 3 bays just right here, easy access to everything.